Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Erlinda Inniss, spirit medium and manifesting coach. Thank you guys so much for joining in today. Today I'm going to talk about something I feel like if you've worked with me or have gotten readings from me or have private coaching sessions with me, then we've kind of talked about this. But this is something where I really want to make a video about this because I know a lot of people are starting to ask more questions about this topic, which is really, really awesome. So today we're going to be talking about activating our 5D energy, okay? So let's get started. So as you guys know, okay, if you follow me, you guys know I have been talking about the 5D transition on our planet happening for a very long time, you know, and last year, obviously, everyone went through major shifts. And that shift was not a coincidence, okay? If you guys go back, and it's so crazy because I go and when I receive downloads or information of things, you know, there's been messages along the ways in the last, 10 years that I have posted and shared with you guys, for those that follow me on Facebook and things like that, of information of this shift happening, okay? And then obviously last year, COVID happened, okay? The pandemic happened. A lot happened, but in that time, a huge energy shift has happened as well, okay? So what is 5D, okay? What is 3D, okay? When we look at what people call, okay, the 3D, okay? 3D is, 2D really is this physical stuff here, form, okay? So we really have to go ahead and look at things when we're looking at evolution and, evolving in the terms of, I'm always getting notifications. But anyway, looking at evolution in the terms of when we talk about dimensions and the veils and things like that, we have to begin with the very basic thing, form, okay? Form comes into existence in reality, okay, in the second dimension, okay? So 2D is just really form, okay? And it doesn't, when we're in 2D, that doesn't mean there's no consciousness there, okay? So basically we're talking about objects, okay? Like this pen, this notebook, my jewelry, things like that. That is 2D, okay? They're basically just objects and props and things like that kind of set our stage in life, our physical experience, okay? For our experience, physical experience of reality, okay? When we go into the third dimension, okay, consciousness, of course, always getting calls. I'm telling you, I always freaking get calls when I do a video. But anyway, when it comes to consciousness, it comes into being and begins its movement, okay, towards awakening, okay, and also, we can call that, I guess, self-realization, okay. In 3D, human consciousness comes into play there, okay, and identifies basically with its physical manifestation, okay, and it has little to no connection to its spiritual self or to our soul or our spiritual essence, okay? So the process of moving beyond, okay, the third dimension or the 3D, okay, which is what we've been for a long time, and moving from that third dimension into the higher dimensions of consciousness, okay, is what we what we most, typically relate to as like spiritual transcendence or our awakening, okay? Our higher selves, okay? This is where we lift off from the physical, okay? And we lift off from that physical and gain consciousness of the spiritual realm, okay? The veil, we're lifting that veil, okay? So that leads us into the fifth dimension, 5D, okay? 5D is the very first of the higher spiritual dimensions, okay? That the 5D goes back to source, back to God, this universe, whatever you want to refer to it as, okay? It's a plane of consciousness. It's a perceived reality, okay? It's a range of frequencies, okay? It's just a huge range of frequencies, and it's a state of being, okay? The fifth dimension resonates at a higher frequency, okay? And it definitely resonates at a higher frequency than the third dimension, okay? Which you'll hear, okay, we switch from the 3D to the 5D, okay? But the third dimension is where most of, humanity has been experiencing reality so far, and for a long time in that third dimension, okay? And in the third dimension, our reality is distorted, okay? So much that we experience ourselves, as separate from our soul, separate from, source, separate from the unified field of consciousness, okay, which is 5D, okay, and higher. In the third dimension, okay, the illusion of fear, being scared, separation, and scarcity, okay, appear as our reality, okay? And as a result to that, and how we react, and we're very impulsive, humans are very impulsive, that's when we get those impulses of lower frequencies, okay, anger, sadness, and other low frequency emotions, okay, and they're really common, okay? Those lower vibrational emotions are very common in the face of like circumstances of our lives, okay? If something happens to you, then it's like, again, I'm getting a phone call, it's crazy, but so say something happens to you, and how often do you react to something with anger or getting upset and worked up, or anxiety over happy and this and that? And surprisingly, if you wrote that down on a piece of paper and you're like, okay, I just reacted this way, and this way, instead of acting or reacting, okay, how they say, like, life's 90%, what happens to you, or what happens to you, and 10%, 90% how you react to it, and 10% what happens to you, okay? So when you write those things down, you look and it's like, gosh, like I really do feel those lower vibrational energies way more, than any higher vibe frequency emotions. Okay, so, and why is this such a big deal, okay? Let's start with our planet Earth, okay? Planet Earth is a conscious and evolving being, okay? And our planet is already, Earth is already into her own, transition into the frequencies of the fifth dimension, okay? It has been all last year. We're fully in the fifth dimension now, okay? But while the planet was doing that and coming into that fifth dimension, okay, that becomes available to us as human beings living on planet Earth. Okay, so to all the beings who, animals, any living being on planet Earth, that lives here and on her, this, that's going to be accessible to them. So this kind of explains, why the political systems that kind of run on the values of 3D, you're starting to see those types of things losing their hold and their grip and popular support on certain things. Okay, their dysfunctionality, which at one point seemed to be, or seemed to make complete sense, to people living here and to the masses. Okay, it's now appearing different, okay, or it appears to be broken or unjust and unable to kind of serve, the well-being of the human population. Okay, and you're seeing all those things last year. A lot of things came up. Okay, but in order for it to come up is the only way that we can fix those things. Okay, so while a growing number, okay, and it's continuing to grow, have access to this 5D, this fifth dimension, most of us still kind of dwell somewhere between that 3D and that third dimension and the fifth dimension. Okay, so yes, you're like, okay, what's going on? I know there's a 4 in between there, okay? But some of us are still dwelling between that third and fifth dimension. And at times we kind of find that we're able to feel blissful or act compassionately, or we're more generous and acting more generously than usual, or we're being more forgiving towards others and also towards ourselves. And a lot of people, this is almost that awakening, okay, that we talk about, but we're being more forgiving to ourselves and also others as well. And at other times, we get stuck in the fear. We get stuck in the sadness, the anger, the blame. Who can we put this on? Who can we blame this on? And we start to really increase those low vibrational energies. And the transition from 3D to 5D, it's not a one-step process for most people. Okay, it's not at all, and this is, again, when we go into that awakening state. Okay, it's a state of being that we might get, a glimpse of or a taste of, and then we lose it. Okay, so if you ever feel like, oh, you got all this momentum, you're going, and then all of a sudden some shit happens, and you're like, what the fuck? Okay, but to get a glimpse and taste of that feeling again, or that dimension again, and lose again, that keeps happening. And when we lose access to that frequency or those frequencies, okay, and related emotions, those related emotions, thoughts, and actions of the 5D, we have most likely slipped from there. Okay, we slipped from that 5D and we slipped back into that 3D. Okay, into that 3D consciousness. Okay, so let's look at the fourth dimension. Okay, we're gonna look at the fourth dimension now, because like I said, okay, there's that 4 in there. Okay, 4D works a little like an elevator. Okay, it can take you all the way up. It could take us really up, and it can also take us completely down. Okay, so it's the dimension of thought, and the dimension of thought and emotions, and it gives us access to the fifth dimension. Okay, so it gives us the access to the fifth dimension or it can give us that access to the third dimension and drop us back down into the third dimension. Okay, so it's just that in between. It's going to take you really up, it's going to take you all the way down. Okay, so what opens the gateway, okay, to that fourth dimension is usually like a clear thought. This is why our thoughts are so important. Okay, it's usually a clear thought and a really strong emotion. Okay, so the thought, it's the realm of thought and emotion. Okay, so when the mind imagines a clear thought, okay, and this is why it's important in manifestation, you guys, when you guys hear me talk about manifestation, being clear on your intention, okay, but when we have that clear thought, which typically is going to create a emotion, we enter the frequency of that 4D. We enter the frequency of that fourth dimension through that thought and through that emotion, okay? And through the gateway of, you know, the heart, okay? It's our heart center, okay? So if the thought is negative, okay, and it generates a, you know, a low frequency or a low vibrational emotion, like fear or anger or sadness or doubt or blame, okay, we drop down into that 3D, okay? If the thought is positive and it generates a positive emotion and generates a high frequency, okay, because we're just like a radio, okay, we have a frequency. So if it generates a high frequency emotion like joy or gratitude, we rise to the 5D, okay? It's pretty simple, okay, but I feel like this isn't talked about enough so people understand it, okay? It seems simple, sure, you know, when we say it either goes up or it goes down, yeah, it seems pretty simple to grasp, you know, here in our minds when we're saying it this way, but stepping into 5D is so much more, okay? It's so much more challenging, okay? And that's why people are like, it's hard to practice. It's challenging in practice. It's very simple, and that's what makes it so annoying too. You know, the simplicity in understanding the process, you know, is easy, you know, however, it's just nothing, if nothing else, you know, brings us at the gateway of the possibility for ascension or awakening or higher vibration, okay? But this is why, like, I love to put spiritual awakening or spiritual ascension into, when we bring it into the context of dimensions, okay? Because it totally has an effect. It affects how we live, okay? So when we look at it this way, it becomes hard to just believe that, you know, anyone aware of this and aware of, you know, aware of this possibility, you know, would want to vibrate, you know, at 3D when they can vibrate, you know, or choose to vibrate at the 5D, or even, you know, understand that 4D gateway, you know, why would they want to vibrate, you know, at a 3D? Why would anyone choose fear and doubt and sadness and blame or anger, okay, low vibrational emotions over the joy, over kindness, and over peace, you know, more peace than anything. But in this context, okay, I think the choice becomes pretty simple, you know, the choice becomes pretty simple, and the choice is very obvious, okay? And notice, you know, I've now been talking about choice, okay, a lot here. So when we talk about choice, okay, and choices, it's obviously free will, but choice is the primary, gift of the fourth dimension, okay? In 4D, we have access to choice, okay? In the moment, we imagine like a thought and experience, so to say. Experience it's associated emotions with that, okay? If we become aware that we are choosing that, if we become aware that we're choosing that thought and can choose any other thoughts, the game changes, okay? If we understand that instead, we have the choice to kind of take the higher ground, okay, with it, instead of just assuming that this made you this way. Understand you have a choice, okay, with this, that awareness that you have, because it very much is an awareness, and it's something you can practice every day. And we can practice, going up and down that elevator ride, but you want to go up on the elevator ride, not down. So just notice when, something triggers you, or something comes up. Like I realized a certain trigger I had a few weeks ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, that totally takes me so down. Okay, you won't have to wait long, for this opportunity, because you will most likely, okay, get triggered. Okay, you're most likely will get triggered in one of your next, encounters with, one of your next encounters today even, okay, if whatever time you're watching this, if someone upsets you or they say something to you, okay, notice the emotional trigger, okay? Become aware of how you're reacting and see if you can shift your interpretation or perspective of the encounter or the situation or even of the person, okay, to something that is more high vibrational, something that's more positive, higher frequency, and more positive and empowering, okay? And if you do that, you will have to focus a bit on that and become really aware of that, okay? You might even have to, I know when I was first understanding this, okay, you may even have to fake it at first, okay? Don't worry, just fake it. Fake it till you make it, okay? Because this is the best way to practice that, okay? And understand, your reality, and some people might, whatever about this, but your reality is an illusion anyway. So you might as well turn the illusion and orchestrate it into the one that feels more high vibrational and that feels good rather than one that feels bad. Understand how much control you have over your life, okay? And when I say, your life is an illusion anyway, it's something where you have control over it, okay? As soon as you take your, attention off a negative thought, okay, that you just came up with anyway, okay, and you focus it on a empowering and positive, perspective or interpretation, of the situation or the person or, the encounter that you had or that you just, had with somebody, then you will experience going up that elevator, okay? You will experience a different emotional response, okay? And when we experience that different emotional response, okay, that conscious emotional response will turn, it will turn, the energy, and it will turn the downward going elevator, set off by like a negative response, okay, or your trigger, okay, going back to the trigger, okay, and then you take that trigger and you flip it around and turn it into a upward, ongoing, upward moving, okay, elevator. And that's gonna kind of give you that gives way to that higher emotional frequencies, okay, and access to those higher emotional frequencies. And when that goes into manifestation, which you guys know that I'm about, you'll understand that, okay. The more fire you feed, your higher emotional state and those emotional frequencies, the more grounded you're gonna feel. You will the more grounded you'll get into those high vibrational feelings. Okay, it's literally just a matter of ongoing practice. Okay, and everyone's like, how do I manifest? So this is it. Okay, so one of those first things is notice the trigger. Okay, stop, don't react right away. Okay, how are you reacting to that? What are you thinking? What are those thoughts that are going on? And then choose that higher frequency response instead of a automatic negative response or a negative reaction to what's going on. Okay, and then experience the shift after that. You'll feel the shift. Okay, if experiencing life through the lens of 5D is of interest to you, start practicing this. If life of manifesting and understand how our world is working now, just like, this is for you. Understand this, just like every other skill in life, okay? This one takes time and commitment and definitely the willpower to do, but this is the first step, okay? And commit to practicing that, okay? And with time, you're gonna notice, okay, that your ability to catch the moment of choice, okay, which is that 4D, catching that 4D moment, okay, over that 3D moment of which is reaction, okay, will become easier and faster, okay, and that makes manifesting easier and faster in the moment of choice, okay. And if you go for a conscious and high frequency response over a low reaction or low frequency reaction, you will single-handedly raise your frequency. Okay, you will raise your frequency and initiate your awakening, your ascending journey, okay, your own personal journey, okay. And this possibility is now available to all of us, okay. This is something that's been talked about coming for a long time, and what a amazing time, an incredible time it is to be alive in this moment and understand what a incredible opportunity that we have as human beings and stepping into our natural state that we have right now, and to be conscious of that now in these human bodies, okay, and to be in these human bodies and to be on this planet right now. We are all here for a reason, okay, and this shift happened for a reason. Everybody, a lot of people I know, Wyatt, last year, man, it was just the worst year. It was the worst year ever. All this stuff happened, and it's like, we got to change that perspective. Understand that last year, it was not a fluke. It was very much, it planned and divine timing and huge shift in for our world as a whole, unified as a planet. Now it's important to understand this way of living so we can all live with ease and grace and flow. Understand that we manifest these things into our lives with ease and grace and flow. We've been socially conditioned to think that you do life this way. You go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you bust your ass, you work hard, you have a family, you do this. That's all great. But understand that life is not meant to be that way for us. We are human beings. We are creator. We are part of creator. We create our world, and we have a new opportunity right now to raise our vibration, raise our frequency, and change the way we live. It's already there. It's already happened. The energy shift already happened. So now, if you're watching this video, I feel like it's not a coincidence that you're watching this video, and I've been very pulled to make this video, just from my guides, from and things, higher beings that help me in the sense of my mission and purpose in helping others understand this. Okay, there's no more living in the 3D. You'll know if you're living in the 3D because things are probably going to feel miserable. Things aren't going to feel right. Things are going to not go well, and it's because we're not clicking into that 4D. We're understanding that we have a choice, and then we go into that 5D of that ease and grace and flow. And again, this very much has a connection, and I talk about this because this manifestation, it's always been there. It's not some woo-woo thing. It's a science thing. There's science to back it up. It is what it is, because some people think like, oh, manifestations, this, and that. But I'll tell you what, all those higher ups, those people around the world, those rich people, those people at CEOs, and I've worked with plenty of them, okay? They understand how this works, and they have for a long time. They're unfortunately people that don't want everyone having access to this abundance, to this prosperity, but now it's time for that. And it's time to come out of that low vibrational way of living and step into this new, manifest the life that you want. Understand that you are available for abundance. You are available for prosperity. That is the way of our true nature and our true being. Okay? God, universe, source, whatever you refer to, did not put us here to struggle and to think that life is hard. Okay, yes, are we here for lessons? Yes, but because of our human selves and how we react to things, we can make it harder on ourselves than what it's supposed to be. Okay, so I know this is probably a way longer video than what I was intending for, but I felt this message. And I feel like I talked to someone yesterday. I've been thinking about this a lot in my mind, and how do I put this in words, and how do I say this? And people always ask me, how do I manifest? How do I do this? And I think this is the first step of understanding how our world works now. Okay? This isn't a and, if, or but, or maybe I'm going to get into that. If you're seeing this video, it's because you're being pulled to understand how life is now, and to step into your 5D body, step into your 5D consciousness and way of thinking. Am I saying it's easy? No. As I talked about earlier, it is a process. But once we work that muscle and we understand that we have choice, instead of thinking things are just always happening to us, understand that we have that choice in how we react to it. Completely different life. You're going to understand, you're going to see all the opportunities and those things that you're manifesting, and how the world co-creates with you to provide you with everything you want, everything you need, everything you desire is there. We just have to open our container to grab that energy and bring it into us, okay? So I hope that this video helps many. I feel this is a question and a topic that just isn't talked about enough right now, when it's so crucial right now in timing. There's always divine timing for everything, and people hearing this and understanding this, because We still got some ways to go. Our planet is purging, people are purging, things may come up, but those things have to come up to be dealt with, to let the light in, and then take us to that next level. So I hope this helped some of you. You hit that subscribe button and hit that bell. The next time that I make a video, you'll get a notification. And so much love and light to you guys always, and I will talk to you soon.